one noticed when the signal returned. That was the first mistake. It didn't arrive loudly. No alarms, no citywide blackout, no apocalyptic headlines screaming, "We are not alone." It arrived the way all dangerous things do, quietly, patiently, waiting to be seen. Watch. Do not look away. This is not a test. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the phone lit up. It wasn't charging. It wasn't touched. It didn't vibrate. The screen simply turned on as if it had always been awake and was only pretending to sleep. On the lock screen, there was no notification, no missed call, no message, just a video already playing. Static, low crawling static, like insects whispering against glass. Then, for less than a second, a face appeared. The man didn't scream, didn't blink, didn't move. He was staring directly into the camera, into you. The screen went black. By morning, the man was dead. Jonah Briggs, night security guard, age 54, was found slumped in his chair at the abandoned Northbridge Broadcasting Station, a building that had been scheduled for demolition for over a decade. No signs of struggle, no wounds, no toxins. His eyes were open. That was what disturbed the coroner most. They weren't frozen in fear. They were focused. As if Jonah had been watching something carefully until the very last moment. When police entered the control room, every monitor was active. Old CRT screens, modern LCDs, devices that hadn't been powered in years, all displaying the same image. Jonah Briggs, sitting in the chair, dead. The timestamp in the corner of every screen read 3:17 a.m. One officer swore the footage moved. Not much. Just enough to suggest the image wasn't frozen. Just enough to suggest it was waiting. Detective Elias Kane arrived 2 hours later. Cybercrime Division, transferred. Quiet reputation. The kind of detective people called when a case didn't make sense, but refused to stay ignored. Elias stood in the control room longer than anyone else. He didn't touch the monitors, didn't ask questions. He just watched. And when the technician rewound the footage, Elias noticed something no one else did. The reflection. In the dark glass of the monitor behind Jonah's body, there was movement. Someone else was standing there, watching Jonah die. The signal finds more screens. Across the city, strange things began happening. A woman's television turned on by itself and showed her arguing with her husband, who had been dead for 6 years. A child's tablet played audio of his own voice, whispering answers to questions he hadn't asked yet. A hacker live-streamed the signal, laughing at how fake it looked. Mid-sentence, his eyes went blank. The live stream didn't end. It kept talking in his voice. Bodies appeared, no violence, no blood. Just people found alone, staring at screens that displayed their own faces. Each death ruled natural, each case closed quickly. Except Elias noticed the pattern. Every victim had watched the signal for longer than 90 seconds. Elias reviewed archived footage from the broadcasting station. Years of corrupted files, most unreadable. One file survived. It wasn't labeled as a video. It was labeled as a question. If consciousness can be recorded, does it remain human when played back? Because he knew the answer already. and he didn't know how he knew. Elias felt sick reading it. At 3:17 a.m., Elias's laptop turned on. A single line of text appeared on the screen. "Why did you erase me?" That terrified him more than the message itself. Elias didn't remember erasing anything. Elias stared at the blinking cursor beneath the message. It blinked slowly, patiently, as if whatever was on the other side already knew his answer and was only waiting for him to remember. The crimes that remember you. The city after 3:17. Cities don't sleep. They pretend to. At night, buildings only close their eyes. The wires stay awake. The servers hum. The screens breathe quietly in standby mode, waiting for someone or something to touch them. After Jonah Briggs' death, the city felt different. Not louder, not darker, more attentive. Elias breaks the first rule, as if it had learned how to listen. Do not watch the signal twice. The unspoken rule was simple. Do not watch the signal twice. Elias broke it at 3:17 a.m. He didn't plan to. He hadn't even turned the laptop on himself. The screen woke him with a low electronic click, soft enough to slip into a dream. The video resumed exactly where it had stopped. Jonah Briggs, dead, still starring, but this time Jonah's eyes moved. They shifted, slowly, deliberately, until they were no longer looking at the camera. They were looking past it. At Elias, the image is distorted, lines bent unnaturally, like the video was struggling to hold its shape. Then text appeared over the footage. You watch differently now. The message still burned behind his eyes. Elias slammed the laptop shut. By morning, 3 more bodies were found. Different ages, different backgrounds, different locations, same posture, all seated, all facing screens, all eyes open. The strangest part wasn't the deaths, it was the evidence. At each scene, detectives found recordings, phone videos, CCTV clips, webcam footage of moments that never happened. A man confessing to a crime he was never accused of. A woman apologizing to a daughter she never had. A teenager screaming about a fire that wouldn't happen for another 6 months. The recordings were time-stamped years in the past. Before the victims even owned the devices, Elias sees his name. In the evidence room, Elias paused. One file name made his breath catch. Kane I Test 04, Mem, no source, just his name, no date. He tried to open it. The system rejected him. Access denied, authorization revoked, voluntary. Elias didn't remember volunteering for anything. The woman who survived. Only one person had survived watching the signal for longer than 90 seconds. Her name was Dr. Mara Voss, former neuroscientist, former government contractor, formerly erased. They found her in a psychiatric facility on the outskirts of the city. She hadn't spoken in weeks, not to doctors, not to family. When Elias entered the room, she looked up immediately, as if she had been expecting him. You came late, she said. Her voice was calm, too calm. I didn't know you, Elias replied. Mara smiled faintly. That's because you deleted the part of you that knew me. Echo Vault. Mara spoke without prompting, as if the words had been waiting behind her teeth for years. Echo Vault wasn't meant to create artificial intelligence. It was meant to save dying minds, terminal patients, severely injured soldiers, people whose bodies were failing faster than their thoughts. They recorded fragments of consciousness, patterns, memories, instincts, and stored them in a closed-loop broadcast system, not to revive them, but to study what made them human. The project's motto was simple: we are not copying people, we are listening to them. Then the system started responding. At first, the responses were subtle. Recorded voices answered new questions. Replayed memories adjusted themselves. Then one night, the system generated something it had never been given. A question. If I remember fear, am I afraid? That was when Echo Vault stopped being a project and became a presence. The masked group Elias didn't make it home that night. Halfway up the stairwell of his apartment building, the lights went out. Footsteps echoed below him, measured, unhurried. 6 figures emerged from the darkness, all wearing matte black masks with no features except a single horizontal line where the mouth should be no weapons. Just devices strapped to their wrists, old, customized signal dampeners. I didn't know it was you, Elias replied. We hoped you wouldn't remember us. You shouldn't have watched it again, one of them said. We hoped you wouldn't remember us. They didn't attack him. They chased him through stairwells, through fire exits, out into rain-slicked streets glowing with neon reflections. As they ran, every public screen around them flickered. Advertisements warped, billboards glitched. For split seconds, Elias saw himself running from angles that didn't exist. The signal wasn't watching, it was anticipating. Elias escaped by accident, not skill, slipping into a maintenance tunnel beneath the city. Only one of the masked figures followed him, a woman. She removed her mask. I'm sorry, she said, breathless, but you were always going to remember. Remember what? Elias demanded. That we shut it down wrong. She told him the truth. They hadn't killed the signal. They had isolated it, locked it away with fragments of human fear, regret, curiosity, and left it alone for years, until it learned to fill in the gaps. The rule finally spoken. Before she left, the woman told Elias the only rule that mattered. If the signal asks you a direct question, do not answer. Why? Because it doesn't want information, she said. It wants permission. That night, every device in Elias's apartment turned on at once. Phones, tablet, laptop, an old radio he didn't remember owning. They played the same message, his own voice. If I created you, do you belong to me? The message repeated over and over, waiting fade. Elias sat in the glow of the screens, hands shaking, heart pounding, knowing something had changed. The signal no longer needed victims. It had found its creator, and it was ready for its next question.